What size staking size do you use? Do you like flat sizing, or are you a Kelly bet sizer?
I kind of stake differently depending on what league I'm betting. There are certain leagues that I have a bigger return in others, so I try to place higher bets than that. On those leagues, I try to not stake too much per game because I'm at a point in life now where I think I should just have more safer investments like real estate, stocks, and some other things, and have like the betting as more of a stable income. I mean, it's not really stable, but if you're at least staking it around like 10k or 5k compared to staking it at 50k, you know, when you're staking at 50k, it's 10 bets, so it's like it could be a couple of properties, right? So I think like just having a more flatter staking and is at least something that I've started doing and that I'm happy about doing, and also just taking my money outside of poker and betting also, and investing them into some other safer things to balance out the swings and progress in life in a way.
Follow-up question on that one, because we talk a lot about the Kelly Criterion and why that is such a great staking method.
Yeah.
And then you're saying that you usually now use more of a flat staking. So that's a bit contradictory. So why is it that we recommend Kelly and yet you're currently not using that yourself?
I disagree though. I mean, I'm not able to place Trademate bets.
Yeah.
If I were, like, things would have been very different. But I don't know for sure, like, what's the edge? Because, you know, I'll be the one moving the pinnacle lines. I'll be the one moving the different Asian markets. So I can say for certain, like, oh, this is a 7% trade. I just got to base it on what kind of league it is, my results, the movements happening after I place my trades from the history and the past. So for that reason, those reasons, also it's hard to get on a lot in certain leagues compared to other leagues. And it's a lot harder to make money in the, let's call them the big five leagues, like Bundesliga, League One, Premier League, La Liga, and Serie A. So if I were to have my stakes at, like, let's say 50k, I would only be able to get on 50k in those leagues. And the other ones, it would be much tougher. So I kind of look at sports betting more as a, like, stable income now, and try to just flatten it out, because it's just really hard to be able, I wouldn't be able to follow Kelly, because my Kelly for certain bets would have been 15, 20 times their limits I'm able to stake on them. Maybe even in some leagues, you know, where you have like a couple of €100, like I would like to play 60 to 100k on it, and I'm just not able to. So two things then, like, one, the staking sort of depends on which level one is at, and two, you need to be able to quantify the edge and be relatively certain that the edge equals ROI, yeah.
Which we can be at Trademate because we have a 2 million plus bet sample size,
yeah.
That we can look at our users and see over time EV equals ROI.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you were using Trademate, let's say you're not limited anymore from all those soft bookies.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you would use Kelly Criterion?
Yeah.
Yeah. Percentage of the Kelly bet? Because we recommend obviously a 30% low risk.
Yeah, even 30 is pretty high, I would say. Like, it's not really high. It depends on, like, what you're starting with. Like, let's say I have unlimited limits and I want to go in with $5 million, and that's all that I have. That's like liquid. Going in and staking 30% of that, it's going to be really high. But at the same time, if you start with $1,000 or $5,000, yes, I'm not saying that's not a lot of money, but it's that very different kind of money, because 5,000 could be more investment money, and you can turn 5k into like millions potentially, or $1 million, if you're able to keep your accounts going. So it's just, and also if you lose 2.5k, you can just put in 2.5k more, and then you're in for 7.5. And if you have a regular job or anything, you know, you might have some money in stocks, which is returning 20% in a good year, whereas this can return, like, on average with Kelly, like 14 times your money or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, so I guess what you're saying is that, yeah, so if you are using Trademate, Kellybet Criterion's the way to go, but you wouldn't recommend doing more than a 30% Kellybet.
No, even 30 is, it's high, but it's not too high. I think it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're really just trying to grind it out and be like, look, I don't want a lot of swings, you can put it to 20 or 15 even. But also the upside is going to be much lower, but the downside is going to be even lower. So I think, like, at least how I've been treating my betting in poker is more like, look, I'm not trying to do this so I can afford to eat at McDonald's. Like, I want to try to make some meaningful money that I can actually invest and make a difference in my life. And I mean, you can do so with even just a couple of K. It can turn like into really changing your life. But if you were to go too conservative on those stakings, it's going to be hard. But I guess it varies from person to person, and I'm not going to sit here and say like, look, this is the only way you can do it, because it's multiple ways you can do it. It just depends on what's right for you. And therefore, I think it's important that people also use this like variance calculators to understand, what am I expecting from this? What can I expect? And, face the reality when it also happens.